Aloha, my name is Matt DiGeronimo. I'm the Senior Managing Director at Floyd Mergers and Acquisitions in Business Sales in Honolulu, Hawaii. Today's video segment is directed towards business owners, and the topic is how to minimize or prevent the damage associated with an employee or group of employees leaving your company and then setting up shop to compete against you. Nothing is more personally offensive and potentially business damaging, potentially damaging to our business than watching people that we've hired, trained, mentored, and sort of cultivated their talents, only to see them leave to compete against us. This is a story that is as old as time, and it's a movie that almost everyone in the small business world will have seen at least once throughout their career. On the bright side is that on average, those who leave to compete are rarely successful, and I would leave that to the psychiatrists to figure out why. But it's been my observation that those coups don't last very long. However, while they're figuring out that they're not going to last very long, oftentimes the damage can be non-trivial to your business. So we'd like to be able to take steps ahead of time to prevent that damage. The first and most obvious thing that we can do is to have our employees, contractors, and staff sign non-compete agreements when they first come on board. That's something that we can easily put into the initial employment package and then remind people if they choose to leave the company what they've signed. And that's number one. Number two is we want to control the channels of communication that have been established for each of our employees or staff members. And what I mean by that is it's not uncommon for people, especially independent contractors, salespeople, to get comfortable as a matter of convenience to use their cell phone and sometimes even their personal email to correspond with potential clients. That is an absolute non-starter, and you need to squash it immediately. In fact, I recommend not allowing our staff or employees' cell phone numbers on any formal company material at all, and that includes business cards, because we don't know how long that information is going to be out there. It could be out there for the next 10 years, and if somebody were to dig up a business card and then call the number on that card 5 years from now, we want to make sure that the phone in our office rings, not that person's cell phone. The other thing that we need to do is take a very hard look at who we allow access to what information. As a small business, it's very tempting to put all our information, especially our electronic information, in one location and then just give everyone access to everything. And we do that because it's easy, and we tend to trust those that we've brought on in a small business as if this is a family and it'll always be a family. Unfortunately, that's not the case, and it's not always the case, and we'd be much better off taking a hard look at what information individuals need access to. It's the tenet of the military's security clearance called need to know. So am I giving everyone usernames and passwords to my Dropbox account, which contains all my business information, just because it's easier, meaning I just have one account, one folder, and all that information, or am I doing it because each person actually needs to know that? Of course, the best advice that we could give to prevent employees from leaving is to keep them happy and satisfied and working for you. Unfortunately, that's not always possible, and the warning signs are usually there way before the person leaves. And I think sometimes as small business owners we have to be a little bit more attuned to seeing what is actually there versus what we want to believe. So the first sign of a disgruntled employee, contractor, staff member It's best to take immediate action on that and either figure out why they're disgruntled and turn them around, or just cut them loose right there, because it's usually in the window between when they first become disgruntled and several months later when they'll start to collect the information that they'll need to make their exit. And the last thing I'd like to talk about is oftentimes this phenomena of a group or an individual leaving and then competing occurs in two contexts. One is during a business sale, or when they sense the business is in financial struggle. Then both of those categories are really something that, unless we absolutely have to, we shouldn't necessarily share with our employees. If you've watched my other videos, I talk about the importance of keeping a potential business sale confidential until the very, very last second, and that's partly to prevent what we're talking about in this video. The other thing is, the other one's a little bit more subtle. If you're a small business struggling financially, it's tempting to share that information with those that are closest to you. If we have a business of 4, 5, 10, 20 people, it's likely that we've assumed more loyalty than actually exists. And sometimes that assumption creates this temptation to treat everyone around us as if not only they're family, but they'll always be family. And as a consequence, if the business is struggling financially, or if the business is suffering is going through a rough patch, the temptation to share that with the company is understandable. But of course, we have to remember that everyone's first priority is not to your business, it's to themselves, their own interests, and if they sense that their personal career paths or their own interests might be in jeopardy because of the business's financial weakness, it is likely they'll start looking for exit doors, and some of those exit doors could potentially lead them directly into competition with you. The world of business is certainly shark-infested waters. Take care of yourself, be safe, and keep growing your business. Thanks.